Yo, it's your boy JTG, one half of the hottest tag team ever, Crime Time, and you are watching Wrestling with Regret.
Firepower, Shutterspeed. Firepower, Shutterspeed. Man, which of these crappy cop movies starring a member of the Blade Runners should I look at this week? Got any ideas?
You wash up, and that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold said so.
You're right. Best to get them both out of the way at once. The career paths of Sting and the Ultimate Warrior are really fascinating to me. The two broke into the business together back in the 80s. Both had great looks and intensity and physiques, but once they went their separate ways, who would have guessed that not only one, but both of them would go on to become main eventers, world champions, and bona fide legends in the industry. The odds of that happening are astronomical, but the Blade Runners were both able to go a long way in their respective wrestling careers. Now when it comes to acting, recently I came across a pair of movies from different time periods that each star one member of the team. Firepower, which came out in 1993, stars the Ultimate Warrior in his one and only feature film role. Then there's Shutterspeed, a made-for-TV movie that came out in 2000 starring the Stinger. Instead of trying to make two separate videos on these movies, I figured I would just smush them together into a double feature, then try and figure out which one of them was better in the end. And as someone who compares Raw and SmackDown on a weekly basis for a living, you could say I have experience in making tough decisions. Let's begin. Firepower was produced by PM Entertainment, known for their wide range of straight-to-video action films, and this is certainly one of those. The film takes place in Los Angeles in the futuristic year of 2007, which when watching it today almost turns this drama into a comedy. Nothing is more hilarious to me than seeing a filmmaker's vision of what he thinks the future will be like and being way off about it. We meet our two heroes, a pair of cops named Braniff and Sledge. Sledge is played by Gary Daniels, an English kickboxing champion turned actor who spent his career trying to become the next JCVD, while Braniff is played by Chad McQueen, who's not only known for being Steve McQueen's far less famous son, but also for his role as Dutch, one of the baddies in the first two Karate Kid movies. I've never seen the movies, I can't make a clever reference. In this wacky futuristic world, all the crime in big cities take place primarily in gerrymandered neighborhoods that have been nicknamed Hell Zones, where cops have no jurisdiction. Also, the AIDS virus is all but extinct, but is slowly coming back, thanks to the proliferation of a dangerous counterfeit vaccine. Braniff and Sledge then chase after a group of criminals. Yeah, that baddie's gonna be able to lose the cops by swerving frantically in that tunnel. Criminals can be so dumb sometimes, they never consider driving through the giant opening around the police blockade.
Well, you gotta love those smart bullets.
You know that thing people do in movies where they announce the thing they're using as if that's a common thing people do? Uber Eats! Back at the precinct, police have arrested the Ultimate Warrior, who plays the Swordsman, the baddest, deadliest man in LA's Hell Zone. In a bit of a shock, he has absolutely no dialogue in this film. Besides his occasional grunting, I don't think he says one word.
Get me out. No!
Which is pretty ironic considering his biggest legacy is his, unique way with words.
Now you must deal with the creation of all the unpleasantries in the entire universe! Dig your claws into my organs! Float through the veins and the power of the warrior!
Why does his list of offenses just repeat the same 6 or 7 crimes in different orders? Are these all the same charges, or are they just scrolling down in chronological order? Gosh, if only we police officers had some kind of tools at our disposal that could administer the force necessary to subdue this madman. Perhaps tasers or guns? What if those guns had some kind of smart bullets in them? The cops finally take down Sorty LaForge and throw him in a cell. Now would be an appropriate time for that goofy-looking car salesman from Texas to return the favor and bust him out. But that guy doesn't have a chance, as soon a bunch of baddies from the Hell Zone arrives to stage a prison break. The guy with the Uzi has a clear shot at Sledge from short range, but he can't even touch him because he's rolling? I thought that only worked in video games. At the holding cell, the goons realize they need an officer's handprint in order to unlock the swordsman's cell door. Time for some ingenuity. Oh, so apparently in this world, shotguns work the opposite way they do in RoboCop. The swordsman and company escape with ease, which makes you wonder what good the police are if it's that easy to break into one of their stations, then make a clean getaway. Oh man, I can't wait to see that weapon used again in this... Actually, you won't. It never shows up again. Trying to find a connection between the baddies and the counterfeit AIDS vaccine, Braniff and Sledge go into the Hell Zone, which looks a bit like alternate timeline Hill Valley. These guys are entering a cop-free zone in full gear, yet all the derelicts and thugs in the club barely notice them. Well, except for one guy.
Too bad we can't do that in the real world.
The club, which is run by top baddie Drexel, is staging death matches for live entertainment. As the fights go on, weapons are released for the fighters to use supposedly at random by a computer, but in reality is all done by some nerdy looking guy upstairs, who is definitely not played by... Okay, the jig is up. That guy is me. The tournament includes competitors who sound like American Gladiators rejects, like Psycho, Maniac, Banger, Flaps, and Tumor. Well, at least Dr. Death can carry that guy to a good match.
We are looking for the swordsman!
Thinking that the swordsman can lead them to whoever's making the bad vaccine, Braniff and Sledge volunteer to go undercover as fighters in the tournament. This includes picking equally awful fighter names for themselves like The Hammer and Alley Cat, somehow being able to go back to your regular home at night, and completely failing to stick to your cover story.
I've got a son at home that I love very much, and a wife that hates what I do. My name's Darren.
Braniff's backstory is he has a wife and son. Dig that 2007 video game technology. Also, the only thing we know about his wife is she's a major ballbuster.
I thought you were gonna ask for day shift. You spend more time at the station than you do with us. What kind of example is this for him, seeing his father all beaten up and smelling like death? I don't know you anymore.
Look, what do you want me to do? It's my job.
Quit!
Since Braniff is the family man, why is he the one flirting with the woman in the club and trying to get information out of her? Wouldn't it make more sense for that job to fall on Sledge, who's seen as a ladies' man in this movie? Back at the club, where that car fire is still burning days later, the baddies find out that our heroes are undercover cops and sends the warrior to take on Sledge. It does not end well. Damn it, I knew the warrior was too stiff in the ring. This is exactly what they talk about in the Self-Destruction DVD. Realizing the jig is up, Braniff escapes the club by taking at least 150 pounds of weight and hurtling it through the window like a damned lawn dart. If all cops in the future were that frickin' strong, they wouldn't even need tanks. I can't get over how nobody gives a shit about gunfire in this place. It's like a regular day for them. One of Drexel's goons breaks into their home while Braniff and his son aren't there, and he kills the bitchy wife. How are we supposed to feel sympathy for Braniff considering how she's acted toward him? I mean, he doesn't look all that sad about it. Braniff gets the go-ahead from the chief to go back into the zone to dole out some futuristic justice. Well, good thing you blew up those cars that were, already on fire. This film was definitely low on the explosion quota so far. Braniff enters the club on the one night that nobody is there, and it turns out it's a trap.
A friend of yours is here with me. Remember her as she was, Braniff.
Oh yeah, you know how back in 2007 all the audio in our video became needlessly distorted? A point for you if you can make out one word of what the damsel in distress is saying here.
Hey, Officer Braniff.
Goodbye.
Oh, what the? How did he do the... He was on the video, and then he was there to shoot him. Oh man, he's so fast. The future is crazy. But just like last time, Braniff is okay thanks to his body armor and shoots the goon right back. Our hero heads to an old warehouse where the counterfeit vaccine's being produced and takes out a guard with his magical, multi-directional crossbow. He makes his way to the roof where all boss fights naturally take place and faces off with Drexel. But before he can take care of the leader, he has to have a slow, plodding fight with the swordsman. Come on, this is boring. Just do the crane kick and be done with it. I know. He wasn't the one to do the crane kick in the movie, but the thing... Whatever, I'm trying here! With the swordsman now a deadsman, it's down to Braniff and Drexel. Never mind, it's already over. Now Braniff, I know you think that was the best way to take care of him, but even your co-star would agree. Spearing doesn't make the world work. With the baddies dead and production of the bunk vaccine stopped, Braniff and his new side chick decide to leave the Hell Zone. And I guess they do. The end. I think one of the coolest things about WWE is their ability to have their stars branch out and do outside projects on the same network for maximum synergy. Some of the many examples include Sable on Pacific Blue, a bevy of wrestlers on Psych, Randy Orton on Shooter, and many more. But WCW did this as well. In the year 2000, TNT put out a made-for-TV movie with one of the biggest stars in the company. It's The Man Called Sting in Shutterspeed. How do you know this movie's going to be good? Just look at the names in the credits here and tell me this doesn't have money written all over it. Before I go into the details of this movie, listen to the voiceover that teases the film's encore presentation.
Coming up next, being a supermodel can have its ups and downs. See the movie that proves danger can sneak up on you as fast as the flash of a camera.
Did you get that? Good, because it totally fails to prepare you for what happens in this movie. Wait, Alex Wright's in this movie too? The movie begins with a dude with a camera being chased by a goon with a gun, who I shall call henceforth Gwag, and is shot and killed right in front of his friend. Oh shoot, didn't expect you to run too! Ooh, sexy close-ups of a camera being operated. We find ourselves in Seattle, which is unusually sunny here, as narcotics cop Riley Davis sneaks behind a very pregnant woman.
Let's find out if it's a boy or girl.
Holy crap, it's the alternate ending to the Claire Lynch angle!
Baby's got a nasty habit. Alright, folks. Get on the washer, please.
I mean, come on, except for it being a man in drag, I half expected Claire to just give birth to pure drugs if she went to term. Riley's engaged to a model named Kenzie, played by former MTV personality Daisy Fuentes, who I'm surprised to learn has actually had a pretty good career after House of Style was canceled in 2002. Shows what the hell I know.
You were, speeding.
This is how all couples behave, don't you know that? While I try to convince myself that Sting without face paint doesn't look like a buff Jim Carrey in one of his weirder roles, he receives the camera from the opening scene. It was delivered to him by Mark, Kenzie's brother, who was in Berlin for a modeling job. A group of ne'er-do-wells led by a man named Bradford have tracked him down to try and get the camera, and Sting's voice message gives him away.
Hey Mark, this is Riley. What's up with this camera? Give me a call.
It's a shame you ending your career this way.
As the mystery surrounding the camera begins to swirl, we meet Riley's younger brother Cliff, a homicide detective who's been transferred to the same precinct as Riley. The two have a deeply strained relationship we'll learn more about as the film goes on, but it's clearly affecting our hero. Oh boy, somebody's been drinking in front of the mirror again, hasn't he? After an attempt by Kenzie to bring the two brothers together fails, Riley's called over to Mark's apartment, where he's been found murdered. Oh. Bye, Mark.
He was going to be my best man.
He's the one person I know who hasn't turned on me yet. As Riley and Cliff begrudgingly work together to try and find out how Mark's death is linked to the mysterious camera, we see a series of flashbacks to a traumatic event in their past. We learn that Cliff was going undercover to do a sting operation on a weapons dealer, which, given the term, shouldn't Sting have been the one to do this? Well, they can't all be winners. But then Riley and their father, who's also a cop, trail him to make sure everything goes okay. When it predictably does not go okay, the dad is shot and killed. And I'll bet he was just 2 weeks away from retirement too. At one point, Sting returns home to find it's been ransacked. Their friend who had been helping around the house has also been murdered, but we've barely seen her before this, so who the hell cares?
Kenzie, where are you?
At the show. But wait, let me finish.
No.
Riley, this is important.
Kenzie, will you shut up and listen to me?
Don't ever talk to me like that again.
The smartest thing Daisy Fuentes did for her career was to stop acting and go back to playing herself on TV. The Gwag from the first scene abducts Kenzie, but not before shooting another model at point-blank range in front of everybody. Bonus points for a total lack of subtlety.
Oui, the life of a model is très dangerous, very terrible stuff, but all told, I think I've been one of the lucky ones. Oh, excusez-moi, le camera beckons.
My brother gave him that camera. What does he have to do with this?
Nothing. Anymore.
Dude, what the hell? The baddies call the precinct and tell Riley to deliver the camera alone in exchange for Kenzie. And as you might expect, things go poorly.
Get back in the elevator! Back off! I'm warning you, drop it or she dies. I've got a gun, you've got a knife. Do the math.
Do the math? Dude, has Scott Steiner been your tutor? The other police distract the baddie, which allows Riley to shoot him down. The mother of the hostage reacts the way one would in this situation by slapping Riley. Makes sense. While doing what they should have done from the beginning and just inspected the damn camera, Riley and Cliff reach an understanding about their relationship with their father and with each other. Then they discover a piece of evidence in the settings dial, a small piece of microfilm with customs clearance codes.
Anyone scans them and they read like they've already been cleared and inspected. Whatever they're running just passes right through. So they're smuggling something.
What are they smuggling? Who knows? The movie never makes it clear. All you do know is it's bad. While that's going on, we learn that a man named Griffin, Mark and Kenzie's talent agent, has been an accomplice in this thing the whole time and was actually responsible for getting Mark and his friend to Berlin where they discovered the plot. Well, we'll never know what the plot actually was, but at least we know what the talent agent was doing. After developing the one picture that was taken in the camera, Riley and Cliff discover that Griffin was in on it, so they come to confront him. Meanwhile, the Gwag is across the way with a sniper rifle. He misses his target, which prompts Cliff to engage. Dude, you will not believe the shot I just made on that noob! It's time for the final confrontation between Riley and Bradford. Cliff gets the jump on the baddies while rescuing Kenzie, as the rest of the police swarm in and a shootout ensues. Bradford leads Riley on a very uneventful chase scene until suddenly his car flips after hitting a small shed. I'm pretty sure that's not how physics work! We get a standoff between Cliff and Bradford as the latter has Riley at gunpoint. The parallels between this and the night their father was killed become apparent, and it almost seems that Cliff learned nothing from that experience, until he finally snaps out of it and goes along with the plan.
You can't just leave me here like this.
I mean, I look ridiculous in this box, don't I? Well, sure, I mean, this far in the movie, we have to get an explosion there somewhere. After our heroes walk away from Bradford without arresting him for some reason, we go to the cemetery where Kenzie talks to her brother for all 30 seconds and looks sad. Then we cut to her and Riley getting married and everyone is happy and the movie is over. Holy crap, that transition almost gave me whiplash. So there you have it. Firepower and Shutterspeed. The Blade Runners try their hand at movies and, well, you've seen the results. So now which one of these two was better? Well, picking one's like me deciding if I want to drink bleach or motor oil, but in the end, I have to give Firepower the nod. Don't get me wrong, it has plenty of its own issues. For starters, the hero of the movie, Chad McQueen's Braniff, is outshined by almost all of his co-stars, including the non-verbal warrior. It brings to mind other, often much better films of the genre. But it's the campy nature of the movie and its very strange vision of the future 11 years ago that makes it much more enjoyable to me. The action's good and the story's easy enough to follow. Meanwhile, Shutterspeed is a boring, paint-by-numbers approach to crime thrillers. The action is sparse and what they have isn't very good, and the writing and acting are both pretty bad. Firepower is the kind of movie that people can like either genuinely or ironically, but that's not the case with Shutterspeed. It's bad, but not bad enough to be so bad it's good. As wrestlers and performers, both Sting and the Ultimate Warrior have made lasting marks on the industry that cannot be denied. And there are plenty of wrestlers who have made the transition to stage and screen successfully, but these guys are certainly not part of that category. Be sure to thumbs up this video if you like it, comment below, subscribe to Wrestling with Regret, and buy the t-shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com. I'm Brian Zane, and I'll see you next time.